And so we're back, and while we're waiting for Stefan Youngblood to be able to join us on stage, if he can make it, things happen like that. We still have plenty to cover, and that's what GatherVerse is fully prepared for. Russell, you just came off the heels of a very exciting discussion and a very powerful discussion. Can you give a couple of brief remarks on that while we start to onboard Stefan in here for this fireside?
Wow, where to start? Where to start? It has been such an amazing conversation. So much was discussed. I found it very intriguing around the organizational side, right, and being able to incentivize employees. And I thought that was a very interesting perspective that was brought to the table and how it could help. And also, I found it very interesting as well from the wellness side of things about how the technical side can flow with the spiritual side. I thought that was very intriguing as well within the conversation, Christopher.
Absolutely. And I'm looking forward to be able to express more of this. We have Stefan just getting ready to join us. Thank you, Russell. And Stefan, we're bringing you up, and we'll see you in a little bit. May our gather be well. Stefan, we're happy to have you here.
We meet again. What's happening?
We meet again. What's happening? There's a lot of wood to chop and a little bit of time to be able to do it.
That's right.
We're certainly happy to have you once again here at GatherVerse as we assemble in global community. Yeah. There's so many things to be able to talk about. And right now, you and I are about to kind of jump into head first, if you will, your place in the AI revolution, because oftentimes we know, audience, that in some ways and in some capacity, we struggle for identity when it comes to the adoption and subscription of these new deployed technologies that have found their way upon us in life. Mm-hmm. And we know that there's tremendous opportunity when it comes to these type of powerful new technologies, especially when we think about the family of models and the different types of AI models that are here that have a manifold use purpose to be able to use them and to be able to utilize them. And so how does one find their place when it comes into the AI revolution? We have Stefan Youngblood, who's doing incredible things in the Black community and different communities abroad and about, and has been in the trenches for some time. And I kind of want to go in here and say from the start that with Stefan, you've been on a bit of a mission and a bit of a journey to make sure that these technologies that we find ourselves involved with, whether it's the metaverse or artificial intelligence and generative AI and diffusion models and more, that everyone has the opportunity to be able to use them and to help propagate the voices of those that have been innovating for just as long as others. And so I certainly want to doff my hat to the work you're doing. And where does this pursuit come from?
Yeah, man. Thanks so much. Honestly, I think it comes from my heart, from faith, my dad and mom bringing me up in such a way that I'm always asking, well, who's not at the table? Very big family growing up, 4 boys, 4 girls, my parents, 10 of us, all 1 year apart. So there was a young blood in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And we traveled as a group. We did a lot. But now, if you and I go into a place, and be it a conference, a board of a large company or something, and we see someone that's not there at the table, we usually ask, or we try to find out what is it that we can do to bring our people to a place of being used. That's what brought me to have HireBlack.com. We had 250,000 jobs there, and we're doing a really cool overhaul of it right now. Black Metaverse, 6,000 people in an ecosystem. You've been part of some works we've done there. And now the Black AI Think Tank. Listen, it's just a way for us to find each other. I just got off a planning meeting for our National Black AI Literacy Day, which is a week from now. It's just for us to find each other, help one another, lift one another up, and be a part of what each person is doing. So it's got me squarely in this place of saying, what can I do for someone else?
And it's that important because I think that every person that walks the face of this earth, and you and I know, brings a unique culture. And they certainly bring an identity with them when it comes to what are their global contributions. And what we don't want to find ourselves with any exclusion of any type of person on this planet. We want to be able to work with our communities of where we come from and to simply make sure that we acknowledge their contributions in the greater development of these emerging technologies.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, I want to tell you that you have that spirit. So I've seen you do these massive conferences globally and everywhere. It's almost, I don't care about this and that. You have value. And that's where you come from. And you've made all of us feel the same way. Years ago, my grandfather is from Calcutta. He was a stowaway on a ship at 19 years old, came to America. But I went back and traced some of our roots. I was in Calcutta working with Mother Teresa's Missions of Charity. And I'm telling you, these nuns, 300 of them live there. They don't ask a bunch of questions before they help somebody on the street. They don't do that. They just help somebody. So empathy is like, man, I really care about this world. There's issues and things going on. But compassion is sort of putting hands and feet to your empathy and not only caring deeply, but doing something to help somebody up, lift somebody up, help somebody else to shine more than you do, you know. And anyway.
And such in the spirit, and to piggyback on the last roundtable that we had was dynamically powerful. The idea, isn't it, to some degree, is to start thinking about with this more opportunity that we have with AI, how does it change for everyone? How does it bring value to everyone? Or is it just another innovative product that becomes rapidly adopted and only a few continue to benefit from it? I think that artificial intelligence is a difference maker. I know that you spent time and have interviewed people like J. Cole, Filled with Culture, and then you've interviewed Nick Bostrom. Audience, for those that don't know who Nick Bostrom is, he wrote a book called Super Intelligence and other books that have just recently came out. But he wrote a book called Super Intelligence before AI was as hot as it is now, but it was very forward thinking. And I'm not saying that everything that Nick has put in there and has written about is 100% accurate, because it's not, but it was extremely forward thinking, and it was almost a guide star, if you will, when it comes to AI. What are some of your experiences and takeaways from being afforded the opportunity to spend with people like J. Cole and Nick Bostrom in your sojourn?
Yeah. So I sat down with J. Cole for 2.5 hours in his basement in the studio. And to be honest, it was surreal, you know, just to have that experience. And I lived into it because I knew something was happening. And I will say this, and he'll probably be glad that I said it. People like him don't want to go a lot into conversation about AI with someone like me, because the last thing you want is to think, oh man, Kendrick Lamar, that's AI. He's Drake. He's only using AI. So just to get that off the table, you know, we stayed away from that. I wasn't an AI guy coming in with J. Cole at all. We talked about fatherhood. We talked about my trip to Mount Everest base camp and stuff like that, and how we deal with adversity. And with Nick Bostrom, to be honest, I challenged an idea that he had put out there that was racist. And I heard him say some things. I wrote him an email, and that started a relationship where he just recounted all of that and completely told me of the shame that he had for doing this years ago, and some things that are happening now. So that led to 2 more podcasts with him. And to be honest, I come as a man of faith. I believe in God. I believe in the Bible. There's this scripture, I think it's in the Old Testament, and there's a tribe called the sons of Issachar. And what was written about them is they understood the times and they knew what to do. Well, I don't understand everything. I don't understand everything to do, but I do believe wholeheartedly that God has something to do with it. A creator, the one we try to get to and see through a Hubble telescope. We can't see far enough to see the mystery that's out there. So I go at Nick talking about that type of thing. I sent a paper to him. I sent it back, did some ideas on it. Then he sent me a newest paper that he's working on because he said, mine's similar to yours. He's talking about a cosmic force that he thinks now may be out there on the other side of utopia. So yeah, it's a faith thing with him for sure.
And, you know, I know a lot of people are saying, well, we're supposed to be talking about education and workforce, but let's go back to what Simon Sinek said incredibly, that people don't buy products and services, they buy culture. And I submit to you and I submit to the audience that artificial intelligence is an extraction and extension from humanity and nature itself. And it gets its inspiration always from these different places that have accumulated such an accumulation of wealth through the ages and dispensations of time to be able to even have the opportunity to arrive at these type of models that we work with, and those of faith, such as myself, given by God, if you will. And so when I think about what we're talking about here, and with the relationship that we have, I know you often talk about your grandchildren, you talk about your mother, and I want to get more to the human cultural aspect of what that means and the impact towards the work that you're doing in technology today.
Yeah. So if I had 2 cents, if you're going to cut this interview off right now, I would say, y'all stay grounded. See people. Somebody said in the earlier thing, go walk on some grass somewhere. Be with somebody, hug somebody. I was just with a man who's battling homelessness this morning, but we talk about AI. He gets it. Everybody has, they call it the Obama phone. I mean, Raleigh, North Carolina, a lot of people, everybody has a phone. Just put it that way, no matter where you live or don't live. But be a part of humanity. And Chris, I'm saying this because so much of this digital wall that's coming towards us, it is too powerful for us. People, I believe it's too powerful for us. This 6 or 7 pounds or 8 pounds of brain cannot take in that much of information. We weren't even meant to. So find your spot. I think it was Frederick Buechner who said that your work is where your greatest passion meets the world's greatest need. So you find that kind of place where it aligns with what you are, but keep it about people. Man, Chris, if this interview was over something with my granddaughter, I would say, Chris, I'm gonna go to her appointment. I can't stay here. Schedule me at another time. We don't know what the times are looking like, Chris. I think you and I probably believe that we're on the cusp of AGI. We used to say 100 years from now, but the digital synchronization of who we are as a person with the digital part and the human part is going to be very interesting. It's not going to show up as some robot coming to our front door. It's going to come as influence during
it's fascinating about that. And we talk about AGI, and I am someone that has been bullish on the notion of artificial general intelligence audience, or when we talk about super intelligence or theory of mind, self-aware, cosmic AI, so forth and so on. But I realize even in the day of Turing, when we think about the different papers that he wrote, which I encourage everyone that is a so-called expert in AI to go read these different narratives that have been produced. Artificial intelligence has been around for many decades, and we're standing on the shoulders of pioneers. But let me say this, Stefan, that it seems to me that all the things that have had the trajectories and the Turing tests and all of that, to me, it's been disrupted. I don't think that they had enough information available to them to be able to indicate where we're actually at. And AGI is now more of a product to me than the actual narrative of artificial intelligence being an applied science. And it's us and all of the people in GatherVerse community and elsewhere, and in your Black AI community and all the communities in the world. We're dealing with frontier intelligence. And we are paving the way towards what we will define what this will be. This will not be dictated and defined by people from the past of what this is, because their trajectories and what they were looking at was too low for the bar that's now been set so high.
Yeah, Chris, you talk about this. You come into our rooms, you talk about it a lot. I think what we thought we knew of the future is changing right now.
That's right.
What we do know of the past is the past, but y'all, everything is in flux right now. And I just want to offer this out there too, is that the definitions that we have of words, of just what is it to be human?
Right.
What is knowledge? You know, what is intelligence? How about this one? What is ethical? These type of things, you can look at what the definition was in 1950, look at what it is now. And our actual idea of consciousness is going to be different in the year 2050 than what it is now. So even though we might say, yeah, this is AGI or that's not, this is conscious and that's not, I think where it's coming down to is the redefining of words, sometimes in an unfortunate way, maybe fortunate, and the establishment of some words so they fit where we are. But I believe we may think something's not conscious, but someone has changed the word, the meaning of consciousness, so that what's going on sort of fits in their idea of what consciousness is.
I think in some way that artificial intelligence is a humbling technology because it allows us to know just how much we don't know. I think, and say, hey, there may be people that don't believe in God, and that's certainly within your prerogative and or a higher intelligence. But the reality is that we're all ill-sufficient compared to what we think we know. Bingo. I would submit to you that there's more that we don't know than what we do know. And so while we're so caught up in our bags of expertise, humble yourself to the idea that there's so much more that you don't know. And this is one of the reasons why we're using artificial intelligence as much as we're using, because it has a capability to be able to hopefully extend the things of which we're doing, the task, the labor, our expressions, but we don't want it to express and be a replacement for the brain that we've been given since we come from our mother's womb.
Yeah, you've heard it, and it's been said before. Think of it as it's augmenting the human experience.
Right.
It's augmenting. It's assisted intelligence. So it's us, but think of what it's doing for Alzheimer's and dementia patients right now.
Sure.
Think of what it's doing for some people who are shut in and who have issues just going outside. I do this with high school students in one of our cities here in North Carolina. I show them how they can take simple tools with AI and create a company out of it. As a matter of fact, for anyone who wants to follow that model, we did these young men with their phones, and their moms came in. So we did a day workshop on a Saturday with teenagers and their moms where we were talking about entrepreneurship, and it was AI as their way to get into it. And y'all can dazzle people with AI enough in 1 hour that it'll cause them to realize we're in a whole new world right now.
We're in a whole new world, and we're in it together. And for us, you and I, Stefan, and for everybody in the global GatherVerse community, we hope that we would build well, be compassionate, with care and kindness as we continue to move forward. That's all the time that we have, Stefan. We never have enough time to be able to spend time. I feel like we can go the distance as well with everyone in the GatherVerse community. Follow Stefan. Doesn't matter, no matter your background, no matter where you're from.
Right.
Follow this guy, build with them support, build the bridge together, and let's collaborate so that we all can benefit and advance together with the hope for greater prosperity and abundance.
Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you. This means the world. This is the world. Thank you for what you're doing. I'm tuned in and I love it. Thank you so much.
Stefan, see you.
All right. Bye.